Luton a bit, Skunda, and talk about one of their individuals, Timo Werner. Um, I'm not sure. I don't know if you watched the game, but he missed a penalty late on.
Yeah,
Obviously, to try
I
and get his
saw that.
confidence up. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, he missed a penalty late on. Obviously, going through a very poor run of form. Let's divulge into why exactly that is.
Um, I mean, I'm not too sure really.
Hmm.
Um, he he's obviously not being consistent. I do think it plays a part moving to a different country
Yeah, yeah,
and trying to settle in. Obviously, he has grabbed some goals earlier on in the season, then he's obviously dipped back out of form.
yeah. He started
Um,
okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah, not being able to see the family might be affecting him as well. Throughout this whole COVID stuff, I was thinking about this the other day. Foreign players who come to clubs in England. Um, I mean, they probably don't even get to see their family. Really, do you think? Or I'm not sure exactly what goes on if they are
I
allowed
mean,
to or not. But
well, I would imagine that they probably wouldn't be allowed to, would they?
no. Hmm.
Um, I think obviously we've seen some players have broken the rules. We've seen
Yeah.
them, uh, but generally speaking, these rules outside of football, when they're not on the pitch, they do still apply at home.
Yeah.
And I think it has an effect on players, especially foreign players that come over here and they're not really used to living in this country. And I think a lot of fans they don't really take these things into account. It's
Hmm.
kind of big, because he's he's um he's in his 20s, and he's moving to another country, and he's in the limelight whenever he plays. So he's always got the media on him as well, and
Hmm.
with the lockdown and everything, it plays a massive part of seeing people that he's more closer to as well. And he might not even be able to really gel with some of the players. And I think that actually has a big factor as well. He might not actually be able to gel with some of the players
Hmm.
outside of the training ground. There might not be any social things that they can really do at the minute, and that might have an effect. Because who does he really have outside of football in this country?
Yeah, yeah, I think that has a big effect. Obviously, Timo Werner is in the same boat as a lot of players who have also come along and not being able to see their families. So I think that has got a massive effect. Yeah, like finishing the game and not being able to sort of go back to your loved ones and just continue your personal life must have an effect. Obviously, everyone has to do it via Zoom and stuff these days. But focusing on his performances on the pitch, then, as you say, he did start very well in his Chelsea career. Scored a few goals, and he looked the real deal. And then I think just out of nowhere, he just lost his goal scoring touch. One thing I would say about Werner is he does still appear. He does still look like a player who's trying. He does have bags of pace. Um, he always gives his all. Shows a bit of passion in his face when he misses a chance. So I think he does care. And I don't think that's the problem. But he's just lost his goal scoring touch. He just even his touch in general, it's completely gone. And it's a
Hmm.
big mystery as to why.
I think again, it's just down to confidence with these players.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the confidence when he's looking in front of goal. There's no confidence, and I feel he took the penalty, yeah.
Mm.
And I just feel like I don't really understand why teams let players who are out of form take penalties. I know it can sometimes work,
Mm.
but it's actually really risky in my opinion because in penalties, strikers or whoever takes the penalty, you're expected to score a penalty.
Yeah.
You know, the pressure is not on the keeper. The pressure is all on the striker because you're expected to score. And if you don't score, then you've got the media will be very quick, and the fans will be very quick to sort of jump on your back. Like, how can you miss a penalty? And obviously, players know that. Players know they should have scored penalties. So when you've already got a player who's out of confidence and you give him a penalty, it's almost as if you're putting way more pressure on him to score.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I can understand that.
And if
Yeah.
he
And
doesn't,
sorry.
then
Mm.
I don't think that'll be
Then there's more.
very, very
Yeah, there's
helpful.
more stories about him after that, isn't there? And there's definitely going to be some talk about him tomorrow, and for the next week or so about this. But yeah, it puts some pressure on him. Uh, I think that's just down to the players. Sometimes, the player. Sometimes they feel. I mean, for instance, today Timo Werner probably stepped up and look. I said I want to take this penalty, so I will do. I want to try and get my goal. So sometimes, yeah, it's just down to the players. Maybe having a little bit of false confidence. So,
Mm,
but
yeah.
yeah, it's a risky move.
I remember a game a couple of years ago when Aubameyang was playing for Dortmund.
Mm,
I can't remember who it was against, but he was playing really poor. He missed a couple of good chances, and you could see it on his face that it was affecting him. And I remember Dortmund got a penalty, and I was just saying, don't give it to Aubameyang. He's not going to score. He's not
mm,
going to score. And they gave it to Aubameyang, and he missed. And then he instantly got subbed off
right.
after he missed. It's not. I don't think it's helpful for.
Oh,
And this
okay.
is a top player. This
Yeah,
was a top. Aubameyang's a top player.
yeah,
Confidence can affect anyone, any
yeah.
striker.
100%. Yeah. And I want to go. I would just like touch on a few because Chelsea have had a history, right, of having strikers who have just been brought in for a big amount of money and haven't delivered. Um, I mean, you take Andrei Shevchenko, going back to 2006 when we bought him. He didn't deliver. Came from a massive fee. Came from AC Milan, of course, big reputation. You take Fernando Torres. We bought him from Liverpool. Came across with a big reputation. Everyone would say he's a flop. Didn't score half as many goals as he should have done. Um, and then you take Alvaro Morata. I want to include him in the mix as well because he was also deemed as a Chelsea failure. Really, I mean, like sometimes the it was a bit harsh, but I guess there is some fairness to it as well. How do you think Werner compares to the list of names there?
I mean, how does he compare? I feel it's a bit different when you talk about some of the other players. You're Shevchenko, he came from like Italy.
Mm,
Um, Torres was already in the Premier League. I think Torres was, in my opinion, he was already out of form
mm.
with Liverpool. I think he was out of form and out of form, out of form. He had one good game against Chelsea, you
Yeah,
know,
I remember that.
and
Yeah.
then not that long afterwards, Chelsea came in
Mm,
with a massive offer for him. So I
mm.
don't really feel he really came out of form before he
Right.
went to Chelsea. I mean, how does he compare? I mean,
What
I
about
don't know
Morata?
really. I think. Hmm,
What about Morata? Do you remember him?
well, I mean, I would put him over Morata in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Okay.
Um, I think we just need to wait a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it?
Just a little bit. I think we know he has the quality.
Mm,
Um, we just got to wait a little bit. Hopefully, he gets his confidence back.
yeah. I mean, we mentioned this in the video before when we were talking about Chelsea. It is only half a season. These players, and I fully believe these players have, I guess, had a bit of a boost, bit of an adrenaline rush at the very start. But now, reality's kicking in. They just need time to really gel and get to know how the team plays, get to know their best position and stuff. Also, that's down to the manager, of course. So I feel like there's a lot of time on Werner's side. That's the thing, and the reason I brought up those names in Chelsea's history is just because they've also been brought in. They're also strikers, brought in for a lot of money, so and so, and they've missed chances. And they've gained this reputation, perhaps a little prematurely. Perhaps Chelsea fans, get on their backs a bit too quickly, like, oh, he's not scoring enough goals. And as a Chelsea fan myself, I will admit that sometimes the whole fan base, the opinion, is wrong. In my opinion, it's a bit too critical.
There's a
Um,
type of expectation though when you play for a club like Chelsea.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that
you expect players to deliver straight away.
yeah, and that's
Um,
perhaps why, yeah, they voice their opinion in kind of maybe sort of a critical manner. That's perhaps why there is an expectation with it. So I do agree with that. Werner, I do believe he'll come good, but it's just a question as to when. Um, but yes, out of those names, I think Morata was probably the most disappointing, but everyone will have a different opinion on that.
I agree.
Mm,
I agree with that. I
yeah.
never really saw anything that he had to offer.
No, I think it also comes down to seeing a player try hard, and doesn't it? Because you can see Werner trying hard. Well, from my opinion, I can see him trying hard. Torres, when he was at Chelsea, although he had his poor run, I could see him always giving his all for the team. Shevchenko as well. I think Morata was different. That's why I've gone for him there, because I think he just lost. He just lost his. He didn't want to be there. You could just see it in his face. He just didn't want to be at the
Yes.
club.
Yeah, I think it's hard for players, especially harder for players when they're coming from abroad.
Hmm.
I think some of them don't even know the language,
Hmm. Yeah.
so that has a big effect. How coming into a top team, you don't even speak the language that everyone's talking. I'm not sure, Lampard can speak many other languages other than English, but it doesn't help if the manager can't speak your native language.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
Yeah. It's
know,
probably got something to do with it as well. I mean, the thing with Werner is that he does have, a German teammate in Kai Havertz brought in at the same time. However, they're both kind of struggling. But you get the feeling that when Werner or Havertz start producing, one of the two, they will be pretty much unstoppable because they'll have that link, won't they? If they're both firing, if one of them starts firing on all cylinders, then that will surely help the other one. Do you feel that?
maybe,
Hmm.
maybe I don't know actually.
Hmm.
I don't know if that will.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, it might just make the other one might just feel left out even more so.
Hmm. I just feel like the understanding will be very good between the two. Obviously, as I said, both Germans, both come at the same time, arrived at the club, um, and yeah, surely if one starts firing, well, it's a question mark, and it's a question mark really. At the end of the day, you can't predict these things. But
It's
yeah,
important for the team to show confidence. It's important for the rest of the players to show confidence in these
yeah,
players.
yeah, definitely.
I feel like there was a couple of times, Werner especially, they could have given him the ball in the Luton game when he
Hmm.
was sort of in a box or around the box, but they chose not to. And I feel if you've got a player who's sort of, and it's a cup competition, Chelsea should feel a bit more comfortable in these games.
Hmm.
They should really be trying to maybe test out a couple of players by giving them the ball a bit more. I
Right.
mean, I know they gave the penalty, but I feel like that adds pressure to them. But give them the ball when they're in and around the box. They don't really have time to sort of overthink things. They just sort of have to act on instinct, and I think that's where they can, players like Werner can get their confidence back when you give them the ball when they're in the box, and they don't have time to sort of overthink what to do. They just have to act on instinct, and that's when you will see their quality.
Right. Well, I can agree with you on this game in particular. I didn't see Werner get the ball too much, but however, with the other games beforehand, I mean, I remember when we played against Fulham in the Premier League not too long ago, and he had a very good chance at the end. Um, and they did give him the ball a lot when he
Was that
came
the one
on.
where he was through on goal?
Yeah, this was the one-on-one. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think that's a bit different though as well because he has time. He has a bit too much time to think about what he's going to do.
Hmm.
I feel like that can play a role when a player has too much time to think. It almost can cause them more problems.
Hmm. Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
just sort of act on their instinct, they will just do what naturally comes to them.
Right. And yeah. And you're talking about a player who's out of form needs these chances where they don't really think much.
Yeah, I feel so.
Yeah.
I feel like just getting the ball in the box, they're sort of a
No.
little bit
Yeah.
under pressure, and they need to take the shot straight away. And I feel that's where their natural skill, that's where it will be demonstrated. Really, if they
No,
have
that's
too much
interesting.
time on the ball, then they'll just overcomplicate things.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually. I do agree. Yeah, when they're not thinking about it too much and when they're instinctive, and they sort of, yeah, if a ball it gets played across the box and if they're in there, then they just sort of stick a leg out and it goes in. One of a goal like that,
Yeah,
that'll give them confidence. But yeah, when they're bearing down on goal one on one, just to keep it to face, can be quite intimidating. I don't think a lot of people get that. Actually, it's a very good point. I didn't think about that before. Um,
mm,
so yeah, Werner just needs maybe a few more chances of that. I feel he does get the ball though quite a lot when he does play. I do see Werner with the ball a lot, so I don't think it's a lack of faith really from his teammates. I feel like they do pass to him. Maybe in the Luton game as an exception, he didn't get the ball too much. I didn't see him get the ball too much, to be fair. So you could be right about that. But I think generally his teammates do trust him. But yeah, we'll wrap up there then about this situation, little FA Cup roundup. Timo Werner, surely he'll start firing at some point. It's just a question of when.
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll be back with you later, guys, on a little review about the big FA Cup game of the weekend, Manchester United against Liverpool. And until then, have a good day, and we shall see you later.